work session to order. Good evening, everyone. And let's go through the agenda to see if we have any questions for clarification. I know, Joe, I know. Pointing the minutes, yeah, you did not say a word, that's right. So let's, because Joe held up the minutes and shook them in front of my face, let's first entertain a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay, great, thank you, Joe. Yeah, that was. So now let's go to tonight's agenda and see if we have any issues or questions, clarification. Number one. Question I have here, hold on there, go ahead, Carol.
Well, I'm just saying that I could question to what the fence would look like, and this is what they brought in,
Oh.
what Harold got today, so.
It's either or, right?
I hope so.
Yeah, right.
The lighting's really bad on one of these.
Yeah.
I think they're the same
Yeah,
fence.
One's just a detail on
Yeah,
one.
well, it's color.
Yeah.
We're referring to color.
Maybe not.
Wood.
It's just bare wood, right? Or-
Yeah,
I don't know if one is stained or.
This looks,
one may be a non-pressure treated and one may be a cedar or something like that, but
we can ask.
I guess,
I'll ask them.
yeah, if that's a question, well, we should.
We don't ask them.
So Harold, the question that I have on this is the location of the lot. It's, this is, it's not like last month where it
No,
was clear.
this is not a front yard typical like we had at the last meeting. This is what I would
I mean, I consider
consider
a
to
side or,
be, or a
No,
back.
it's not, because it's a corner lot.
well, that's what I'm
So
asking.
both-
That's exactly what I'm
Both
asking.
front and the side are considered front yards.
Right.
But there's,
setbacks,
but,
right.
yeah,
And, but
Dead end.
from the
there's side yards and there's side.
For the purposes of how we determine front, sides, and rear, this, if you were to draw a line straight from the side of the garage, it's gonna make an intersection at the right-of-way, not at a property line that's shared by an adjacent property owner. So from a technical standpoint, they probably have three sides that are encumbered by right-of-way. Okay? So whether you consider it to be a rear or side, it's definitely a right-of-way area that.
So is it considered a corner lot? What's it?
Oh, yes, it's definitely a corner lot.
Okay.
It's definitely a corner, but not a traditional corner lot from the standpoint that you would see a 90-degree intersection.
Right. Okay, all right, well, that clarifies it for me. Any other questions or concerns on this one? Okay. Number two, any questions on that? Three, moving right along. We're looking for a total of 3 signs here?
3 signs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One with near the leasing.
Yeah.
You know, on that one, I understand it too, one on one end of the project, one on the other, but, I mean, it's kind of arbitrary to one 2 streets down. I mean, it's not even halfway. You know what I'm saying, the location, I mean, the first one and the, coming in for each
You mean a
direction.
leasing office sign?
No, they have 3 of them.
I think that's what he's
They
talking
had one end, the other end, and the leasing office.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So the
I
leasing
would-
office was a slightly smaller one, which I thought it was gonna be a new sign, but it was actually pre-existing. There's a leasing office sign there already, right next to the sandwich board, right behind the building mounted sign, but.
So that then must be a different kind. Leasing office is different than identifying the apartments, right?
Well, no, they had one at each end, basically closer to
Yeah.
the post office side, and then one closer to
Couldn't they
441.
do that as a directional sign?
Which,
If they had a
Just on
sign
the
that just
end.
said leasing office.
Like what they have right now, I think it's a
Yeah.
little,
Yeah.
it just says leasing office, that was kind of my thought too.
Yeah, rather
Yeah,
than
if they
have
leave
the whole
that.
complex named.
Or at least match the colors and replace it or something if they want.
yes, I mean, see, unfortunately, we're looking at it from the aspect of, they're asking for 3 signs. One of the signs that is existing is gonna be altered to be larger. And it is larger than the one that's there. So, we look at it as, okay, they're asking for 3 signs. We know.
That's how we got over there.
That's correct, that's, I think, how we have to look at it. That's what we look at it from a code enforcement aspect, so.
Okay.
And actually, when I drove through, I was surprised at the number of signs, the sandwich boards and quite a bit there.
Going on there.
Yeah, exactly.
For that
So,
property.
yeah, so maybe some things can be consolidated.
Yeah, and if the one becomes a directional sign, all we have to do is give them one.
Well,
If
no,
it says leasing,
they're still looking for the two at the start, depending on which way you're coming from, the
Yeah.
start or the end of
Yep.
the complex.
but the one in the third one, if
In the
that's
middle.
the leasing, if it's saying leasing office, it could become a directional sign.
If you make a determination that it's a directional sign, then it would pull one of the three off.
Right.
Because
And I
that's
wouldn't
what,
look
the
at
directional sign can be 1 square foot or is it bigger?
2 square foot. so it'd be
2
one
square
by two,
foot?
yeah.
Okay, anything else on that one? How about number 4?
The only thing I have on 4 is, they didn't really, I asked the person that was there to give us a detail of what they're gonna build. The only thing I saw was a little red square that was kind of built on the end of it, you know what I mean? And so I said that wasn't good enough. We have to kind of-
I told him to bring in a
Okay.
plan, and
Okay.
that was
Yeah, that's all I said, I just wanted to comment,
weeks ago, yeah.
nothing here to determine.
Yeah.
A little lean.
We approved the red square, but not a.
No building.
You know, I don't know if I want to ask this out during the hearing, but have we had any complaints there or anything? Not in a while,
Not in a
right?
while, no.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's-
Or at least not with the new
he's-
owners?
He's a newer owner and.
Couple of years?
I think 3 for some reason.
Oh,
I think
okay.
3. I don't know.
Okay.
Said he purchased it 2 years ago. Oh, does it say 3? Like, it's hard to read his writing.
2 to 3.
Oh, 2 to 3.
But it's a fair question to ask.
Yeah, I just,
I think he's made
kind of what I
some
wanted to know the answer.
some
to before.
improvements.
Cleaned up a little bit,
I
yeah.
think he's made some
Oh,
improvements.
yeah, again, I'm there, drive by every day,
Yeah.
so it's,
I spoke to him, well, not sure if it was right before this application came in or right after. They're talking about taking the pool out because it's been a problem to maintain, so,
yeah,
yeah.
not cheap.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Just fill
And
it
their
in.
liabilities.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on tonight's agenda?
We'll talk about June.
Yeah.
Nothing tabled, or,
I just asked Harold if we could do something with the June meeting. I got a conflict.
okay?
What would you like to do?
Yeah, you want to cancel it?
Yeah, not necessarily. Move it to either Tuesday or Wednesday that week.
Wednesday we can't go, I know that. Yeah. But we can find out if we can move it to the 14th or the 13th. I would-
Right now, it's the 16th?
You can't do 13th. You got a meeting in here, I think. In the hall.
Yeah, we do.
14th is okay by me.
Who does?
Joe?
Yes.
Carol?
I can squeeze it
We
in.
can kick them.
No.
14th?
Monday.
So we're gonna try and schedule it the 14th then. Unless we hear different, it'll be the 14th.
Is Monday, is that Tuesday?
That's
Yes.
Tuesday.
Okay.
I'll,
Flag Day.
Yeah, please give us an email and I'll call Carol.
yes, I gotta check with Anna to make sure that there's no other
Yeah,
meetings
yeah,
scheduled.
got you.
But relative to my calendar, I'm not sure about Christine's calendar.
Right now, I'm good. What- Yeah. Yeah, I'll be back for my
Pete?
trip on June 9th.
I think I'm okay.
Okay, anything else we need to talk about, Harold, or?
No?
All right, well, then we will.
Can I just make a quick
Of course.
comment? Pete, that thing you sent was excellent
Yeah.
to all of us.
Oh,
okay?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I
Thank
actually
you.
saved it and I think I'll refer to it, but thank you. We appreciate that.
Well, thank you.
Nice.
So we said Tuesday, the 14th?
We didn't. Do you have one for me? This-
You may have to give
what he
Carol
said?
a copy.
I could bring one next time.
I didn't get put in your pack. Oh, no, oh, don't worry, we'll get to it.
I may have it on this, but you have it via email too, right?
But Carol wants it.
Yeah,
Because-
no, that's what I was gonna say, is I can send it to you if you don't.
Oh, no, no, I know,
You're gonna give her the
Can't
phone?
forward it to
No, I'm gonna forward it.
No,
All right, so I have the
got it.
14th saved, let us know, confirm the 14th, and, good. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, well
Unless anybody
then,
else has any?
we will stand in recess, take a, looks like about a 17-minute break, and then start our public hearings at 7 o'clock. Thank you.
Sounds good.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a regularly scheduled meeting of the Penfield Zoning Board of Appeals. Tonight's meeting is going to take place in two parts. The first part will be the public hearing. We will ask the applicants to come up to that podium there and give us name and address, and then explain to the board why the relief requested should be granted. After the applicant is done with the presentation, board members will likely have some questions, and then we will invite anyone in the audience that cares to speak about the application to come up and do the same thing, give us name and address, and speak their mind about the application. After the public hearings are adjourned, we'll take a brief recess, and then we will reconvene in the back of the room to deliberate on tonight's items and to take care of any other business that the board may have. Members of the public are certainly welcome at both parts of tonight's meeting, the public hearings and the deliberations, although the deliberations are time generally reserved for communications amongst board members with staff, and sometimes with council. Tonight's agenda, I would say, is relatively brief, 4 items. So again, you're welcome to stay. If you would like to leave or you need to leave, you can call tomorrow and find out what action, if any, the board took on a particular item. Every meeting I like to point out, and I think my fellow board members agree, that the town does a good job, in our opinion, of notifying neighbors that live in the area of an application, that the application is going to be heard. And the town does this so neighbors are more fully informed of their right to come in and talk about it. That's what we want. Helps us do our job. Town does it by having applicants hang the signs in their yards, by posting the agenda on the website, by posting it here, and then also by mailing postcards to neighbors if you live within a certain distance. And as I said, we think it works well. Having said that, I'd ask everyone to rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. And Harold, may we have the first application, please?
Application number 1, Kathleen and Michael Banks, 163 Bunker Hill Drive, Rochester, New York, 14625, requesting an area variance from Chapter 250, Article VII-7.1-D of the Code to allow a fence taller than 3 feet, less than 20 feet from the right-of-way of Holley Ridge Circle at 163 Bunker Hill Drive. The property is owned by Kathleen and Michael Banks and is zoned R-1-20. This is SBL number 108.20-2-10. This is application number 16Z-0018.
Take your time, but good evening.
Hello, I'm Michael Banks.
Hi, Kathleen.
We live at 163 Bunker Hill Drive, and we are here seeking approval for an area variance to have a 6-foot fence within 20 feet of the right-of-way on Holley Ridge Circle, which is the road on the side or rear of the property. We moved in the neighborhood in September, so we were new to the neighborhood, and we had intended on fixing the fence in the fall, but when, inquiring about the fence and where it is now, that's when we were told we need an area variance, so that's why we're here tonight. We're looking to replace and repair what's there. Currently, there's a 6-foot privacy fence that runs along the rear of the property, and then a small section of it here, you can kind of see it in the survey map, it is actually across the right-of-way. And then it's not captured on the survey map, but there's another section of privacy fence that's screwed to some trees that has a large gate in it, which is, I'm assuming it's also over the right-of-way because it sticks out just about as far as what is that, southeast corner. If you're looking at the compass on the map, it's actually upside down. So our intention is to pull all that back in onto our property, remove it from the right-of-way, because this juts out a good distance. I don't think it impedes the driveway behind us because they're pretty far away currently, but in replacing and repairing the fence in that section, we need to pull it back in. And then also along the pine trees, currently there's a wire fence that's nailed to the pine trees, so we want to take that down. And then we're going to follow, the plan is to follow the same line, but we're going to need to come in probably 4 to 6 feet, depending on where you are with the roots that are there for the trees to make sure we don't run into problems there. So when all's said and done, it'll be on the house side of the property line, the right of way, about 4 to 6 feet in. So it's still within the 20 feet that the variance allows for. The reason we're looking for a 6-foot privacy fence is the house sits up higher than the rest of the lot. I don't know if everyone was able to come out and take a look, but if we did a 3-foot or a 4-foot fence, there'd still be, the back of the house would be pretty visible. So our family room is on that side of the house. There's a large sliding glass door, which is where we spend most of our time, and our couches right there. And then we have a sunroom also in the back of the house. So we feel that anything less than 6 foot's gonna really provide any privacy because we're up so much higher than the road. We also have a large dog. I don't think that he would jump over the fence, but I don't want to give him the opportunity either, so that's why we're looking for a little bit taller of a fence. Then we also have 2 children, and we don't want them to be able to easily get over the fence. As I said, we do want to pull it back in, but the reason we want to keep it within the 20 feet of the right-of-way is we don't want to cut off that large section of our yard, because we feel it would be unusable at that point, because the really only access to it would be from, outside the fence coming down the Holley Ridge side. And do you have anything that you want to throw in there?
Not yet.
So we brought in the pictures. When you were talking in the back, I heard you asking questions about that. Those are the pictures that were on the website. Our contractor we would use builds in place, so he wouldn't technically use the panels, but that's the style of fence it would end up looking like.
What is the total length of the fence?
The entire yard or just this one side?
The part you're going, that one side?
After we bring it back in, believe it's about 95 feet, 96 feet. So it's a pretty big section of fence.
And what type of construction are you using?
In terms of?
Well, the color, the material?
So it'd be pressure treated. Ideally, at some point, I would like to stain it to make it last longer. The fence that's there now isn't stained. The existing portion that's along the back, some of it's falling down. Most of the fence posts that are there now on the privacy fence are being held up by those green garden stakes. All the fence posts are rotted, so it's pretty much about to fall over. Every week, it seems a new piece is falling off of the fence. So we want to do pressure treated. We let it stand for a year before we stained it.
Okay. How old are your children?
4 and 6.
Okay.
And one on the way.
Do you think that the 6-foot would,
Thanks.
Thanks.
would impede the visibility for people coming around the corner?
I don't believe so, just because the way the lot's situated in the cross street of Bunker Hill, I mean, it's here, so it's probably,
past that.
I don't have a tape measure long enough to reach from the corner to where the fence is currently. Based on the map, I'd say it's at least 120 feet or so from the corner of Holley Ridge and Bunker Hill. And then our neighbor that's behind us, their driveway is pretty far back, and it's actually pointed out at a different angle. It's not pointed at the same angle as the fence would be, so it kind of goes out this way. And as I said, this back section here that's over the right-of-way, we'd have to pull in, we would take out the last 3 panels and then bring it back in so it's closer to what the current line is, but still would have to be behind the pine trees that are currently there.
Do you plan to enclose the other side?
Yes. So our goal is, as I said, the entire fence either needs to be repaired or replaced. The section of the fence that's in the back here is newer, where they put the posts in the ground with pressure-treated lumber. The section on, what's that going to be, the northwest side towards the front of the house, those beams and posts are all rotted out, and there's green garden stakes that were hammered in and holding up the rest of the fence. So the intention would be to replace all of it with a similar fence. Currently, there's 3 different types of fence. Coming off the garage, it's kind of a lattice with a 1x4 maybe that is sandwiched around it, but it's also rotten. And all those posts are either leaning or they're hammered into the green garden stakes.
Yeah, I'm talking about the opposite side of the house.
To our neighbor.
Yep. So it would be all the same construction all the way around.
Okay,
There
and
is-
that will all be done at the same time?
Yes.
There is currently a chicken wire fence on that side too. Our yard is currently all 100% fenced in with multiple different kinds of fences. So.
But you were concerned about privacy, and you can see right through from the other side.
Correct. So yeah,
You can see right through your family room
Yeah.
in the back.
So so there's privacy fence here now. We don't have to replace all of it. It's the same design as what's what the pictures show that's there now.
So it'll
the
be
goal would
essentially
to leave
looking
that.
like what's there now.
Correct. Yeah, so we're, to keep costs down, I don't want to have to replace all this, because it ends up being about 400 feet of fence, all the way around the property.
Okay. Since our code says 3 feet, why do you feel, what extenuating circumstances do you feel you have that no one else would have?
Well, I mean, the privacy is the big thing. So corner lots are kind of odd. The shape of this lot's definitely odd. The house being up a little bit higher. If you look, there is a house on the corner of Holley Ridge and Hallmark that has a swimming pool and some bushes that's pretty close to the road. So I think it'd be a similar circumstance where they planted bushes, which, I don't believe that the code also speaks the same.
Well, that would have been my next question. Have you considered shrubs or arborvitaes or anything like that?
Yeah, I believe the code, though, says still that you can't have bushes in excess of 6 feet within 20 feet of the right-of-way.
Well, they wouldn't have to be within 20 feet. I mean, you could still put them there and get your privacy.
Correct. The reason we want to still maintain that portion, so be about 4 to 6 feet off, depending on where you are on the line, is so we don't have to cut off that big section of yard. So if by the math that I did, it would cut off roughly 3,000 square feet of the yard would be outside the fence, and to us, that would be unusable.
Okay. I guess that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, just to clarify, you said the orange line right now, you'd probably actually be in 4 to 5 feet across that whole length from where you are now. So you actually would, if you built the fence right there, you would need more of a variance, but you're actually moving that back farther from the road than it is now.
Yeah, the way it is now, the wire fence that's there, and then the gate that's not captured here is all attached to the trees. There's no posts there. Everything's either nailed or screwed to a tree. So yeah, we'd have to move it back. And it ended up being about 6 feet behind the line here, and then 4 feet the rest of the way, just to stay away from the roots. Because I still want to be able to get around the trees should I need to. If I need to take one of the trees down because one of them not looking so good, and there's a stump that's, somebody cut the top of it off but at the fence level.
This fence that you gave us, okay? What's on the other side of what we're looking at? Is it the same both sides, or is there a big post on one side, or?
So that's just the section between the posts. So on the back side of it, there's 2x4s that run the length.
Okay.
It'll probably end up being a 2x6, because as I said, our contractor builds it in place. He doesn't use the panels. He'll buy the fence boards, put them up, and then nail the boards that you see. So the aesthetic side would be out, so the flat side of the fence would be on the outside. And on the
Yes.
inside towards us would be the boards that are going horizontally.
That's why I wanted to point out to you
Oh,
that
yeah.
you didn't install it incorrectly. The good side has to go out.
Yep, correct,
Okay.
yep. Yeah, it's not like
And
a shadow box where there's
How about
boards on
this?
both sides.
Explain your front yard, because you still have a lot of room in your front yard. This is not your front yard, is, quote, technically your backside yard. Am I correct?
Correct. Yeah, so the reason we want the fence in the backyard, one, to keep the dog in, two, to keep the kids in. I mean, we're on a corner lot, so you have a road and a road. I don't want my kids to run out on the road, throw a ball over the fence, into the road, impede traffic in any way. So we do use the front yard, but, at the end of the day, when we're trying to cook dinner, if we can let the kids go in the backyard and know that they're enclosed and they're not going to get out, makes us feel better.
Yeah, and again, you probably told us, but from that fence that you're enclosing your backyard to the corner of your front yard, it's about 125 feet, is it?
Yeah, I don't have a tape measure.
Yeah, close enough.
My assumption, since the whole line is 282 feet, is probably about 120-ish.
Okay, so in other words, when you get to that corner of those two streets, that fence is 125 foot away.
Correct.
So it's not blocking anyone from turning right or left from either road.
Correct, yeah.
And that's what we determine why we don't have it close to the road, is usually visual.
Yeah, and there are trees here, so there's a line of trees that were, planted. So
Yep.
they're all set back pretty far, but I mean, the majority of them, it's kind of hard to tell, but follow the fence line pretty much to a T.
Okay. That's all I got.
Did you happen to watch our meeting last month?
I was here, I came to see it because I
Okay.
saw it on the, so I came to watch.
Right, so
procedure.
last month, we had a similar application for a variance. It wasn't 6 foot, it was a 4-foot request. But it was really what I think people would traditionally call the front yard. So having sat through that, why is your application, 'cause that application, by the way, was denied.
Correct.
Why is your application different from that?
Well, obviously we're going for the rear and side yard. We do spend a lot of time out there. This is to enclose the property. I believe his was just for aesthetics, just across the front of the yard. Our intention is to keep, the dog and the kids in, and, people out if they wanted to come into the yard when the kids are out there, whatever. So I see that as being a little bit different because it is the rear and side yard. Because originally when I read the code, it says right of way, but then when I went into the office and I spoke with someone, they showed me where it says front, but the front also means right of way. So that's why.
So the nature of your lot is much different from the prior application.
Correct.
And we were thinking it would look a lot nicer if we repaired what's there and then continued the same fence all the way around instead of having different sizes and different types.
Do you have any idea how that configuration came to exist?
From what we learned from the other
Actually.
neighbors, there was a 6-foot privacy fence the entire way at one point, but it
Yeah.
fell down.
Okay.
So it looks like so this whole section was at one point a 6-foot fence, it fell down, and then it appears to me that they repaired this section because there's 6-foot privacy fence along the back here, because it's all pressure treated. And then the section here is also a 6-foot fence, so I believe it went the entire way. I know from talking to one of the neighbors who's been in the neighborhood a long time that it fell down.
So Harold, do we have any information that there has been a variance in the past granted on this?
Nothing.
Do we know, not that I disbelieve these folks, but do we know that there was a 6-foot fence there before at any time?
I don't know if you brought that to Andy's attention when you were talking about, some
So-
possibilities of a pre-existing non-conforming use.
I did notice on here that on the bottom of the survey map, there's a LIBOR 993 with the county. And when I looked it up, it was agreement between
Here it is.
the homeowner in the 90s and the house that was directly behind it for the fence that was here. The way it was written and the way I interpreted it is they thought this was on their property originally. But when the survey map came back, the distance in the back lot, I think, is 3 feet over, and it was actually on the property of the owners of Bunker Hill Drive at the time.
Okay.
So they had an agreement in place with that neighbor for that fence.
But just for that portion?
Just for that
Just for that.
portion. Yeah, so what I don't know is if it included the part that juts out into the right of way already.
Well-
Because it's older, and this was done in the 90s.
Yeah, but they couldn't have attached
Right.
to property that wasn't theirs.
Right.
So,
Any other questions from the board? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this application? Okay, folks, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
application number 2, James Vordonis, 10 Folkestone Lane, Penfield, New York, 14526, requests an area variance from Chapter 250, Article V-5.1-F-1 of the code to allow an existing pool deck with less side setback at 10 Folkestone Lane. The property is owned by Robin and James Vordonis and is zone R-1-20. This is SBL number 125.03-1-2.122. This is application number 16Z-0016.
Anybody here on this application? Okay, let's go to the next one, Harold.
Application number 3, Jeff Bell Morgan Management LLC, 1080 Pittsford Victor Road, Pittsford, New York, 14534. Requests a special permit for signage under Chapter 250, Article 10-10-3, or 10.3, Chapter 250, Article 10-10.12-B, and Chapter 250, Article 10-10.12-C, the code, to allow more than one freestanding sign with greater sign area at 2250 Penfield Road, also known as 351 Pembroke Drive. The property is owned by Hidden Creek LLC and is zoned MR. This is SBL number 140.01-1-10. This is application number 16Z-0017.
Good evening. These are pretty small. I think everybody has copies. If not, I have extras here. So my name is Jeff Bell, property manager at Pembroke Meadows at 351 Pembroke Drive. What we're requesting here is to replace the existing property sign in front of the leasing office, which is number 2 here on the sheet. So it's a double-sided sign, and it's also located on the map here as number 2. So with the variance, this sign is to replace, like I said, the existing. It's in pretty bad shape right now. It's still standing, but it's small and, excuse me, a little outdated. Just want to kind of dress it up, and we're doing a lot of other improvements at the property as well. So with that, we want to actually put another sign. It's a single-sided sign at each end of the property. It is a fairly long drive there on Pembroke Drive. When you drive into the property from whatever end you're coming in from, you know it's an apartment complex, but you don't really know where you're at. So we just want to make the visibility clear for applicants or anybody else coming through, and also to let them know when they've arrived here with the leasing center sign. So the dimensions are on there. I believe everything as far as the signs, size-wise, are in code. The question is, we're requesting 3 signs instead of 1.
Can you talk a little bit about how you determine the size of the signs to use? I mean, because like the signs entering the streets from the main roads are fairly large. I think the one sign stood 7.5 feet tall or so, and 5.5 feet, 5 feet wide, I think. Can you talk about how you determine how large you needed them, or
Sure.
those type
So,
of things?
I mean, the size, I mean, without getting, too large, we wanted them visible. As you drive through there, the sign that we have currently in front of the office, it's really small, and a lot of people say when they drive through, they never even saw the sign because it was so small. So we came up with the size, just visibility.
Okay. Currently, I think you had a bunch of sandwich boards out there too, next to the, like I think you had the leasing office sign, then you had the sandwich board right next to it, and then I think another one closer to the post office side, I believe.
Yes.
Would you be removing any of those signs, not using them anymore? I think you also had the private property, no trespassing, no soliciting. Would those stay?
So the sandwich signs, we'd take those out. We would no longer need those. Those are just trying to increase the visibility. Sure. The private, is that you're referring
Yeah, I think
to?
at each end, that's basically, I think you had one of those at each end. You had I think it said, there's about the size of your leasing office sign, said no trespassing, no soliciting,
Okay.
no, I think it said private property on there.
I believe the plan was to leave those, but if that was a deal breaker, they could easily
Okay.
come right out.
What's the ruling on that, Harold?
Those directional signs, or, I mean, they're not really directional. That's why I was going to ask you the same thing.
No, they're not directional signs, but they are, sort of identifying that this is a unique environment. It's an apartment complex, and it is private property, and you do need permission to solicit. It's not like walking up to a traditional single-family residence where the expectation is you have a right to walk up to the door, knock on the door without any prior notice at the entryway to the driveway.
Sure.
Or sidewalk.
So do they enter into this application?
No, we would allow them.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's our point. That's what we
Yeah,
wanted to
no,
know.
we would allow them, just,
Okay.
so you can post your property.
Well, he also, despite the fact that they are allowed, he can waive his right to have them if he wants.
Yeah,
Right.
oh, no, I agree. I just wondered if it was part of the application.
Sure.
Do you know about the color schemes and things like that? I think the signs didn't really specify yet. Are they going to match the building trim or things like that, or?
Sure, so the signs would be, the end caps, everything is white, and the sign itself would be white with blue trim.
Okay. All right. Would you be opposed to scaling the signs down at all? I'm just thinking more because it's a residential area.
Sure.
And, that side of the road doesn't really have the businesses and the commercial, but let's say, I think the big signs are roughly 13 square. I think that's what I had. No, the big signs are 17 square.
61
almost 18.
inches.
Yeah, they're
with
about 17 by
42.
3/4.
Yeah, I mean, I think we'd be willing for the ones at the end. The one in front of the office, we'd like to at least keep at the dimensions.
Sure. Or what if you made them all the same size as leasing office signs, so they were all in scale? Would that work?
I mean, preferably, we would like them, as large as
Sure.
we'd be willing, but, we would, obviously,
Yeah.
whatever you folks decided, just so we do have that visibility, because it is has been an issue.
Okay, all right, so there really has been an issue in terms of that's been reported that you have had difficulties finding?
Quite often. They
Okay.
drive right past, and they drive in just about every parking lot until they find the door that,
Until they find the door that looks
Yeah.
the right one, okay, okay.
Right.
Yeah, because I noticed, I think currently you have the Pembroke Meadows sign out there, so, you know, those are things that we take into consideration. You have a large Pembroke Meadows sign out there right now, and then typically you would have a building mounted sign and a freestanding sign, and now you're looking at basically wanting 3 signs instead, so that's why
Right.
I'm asking if we scale down and then it's not quite as much
sure.
in terms of square footage for the sizes.
Sure. I think we'd be willing to make that change.
Okay. To have them all like the size of the leasing office sign?
The
Would that work?
42
Okay.
inches wide?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's all I have.
I got one. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
Is the primary reason for, this may be an obvious question, for the leasing office sign to identify that as the leasing office?
For the leasing sign, yes.
Yeah. So do you really need to have the Pembroke Meadows on there as well? Because it seems to me if you could there's other ways of identifying it, including a directional sign, to just notify people that, I mean, obviously it's the same complex, and if we give you signs on either side, it's all gonna be Pembroke Meadows, so then
Right.
the question is, you may be able to put a sign in there that says leasing office without the actual advertisement of the.
Well, we felt with Pembroke Meadows, because it is a, we'd consider a larger complex, larger than the average. When you drive in, like I said, you know you're at an apartment complex. But you don't necessarily know where you are. And, you know, when we're advertising with our competitors and whatnot, you know, they have a list of 20 and they're punching in their GPS coordinates and, wait, which one am I at? More visibility, let people know where they're at. And, you know, with the leasing center sign, you know, that's just kind of, here we are, this is where you've arrived. I mean, we really would like to have the 3 signs. We feel it's important to have them at each end of the complex, and then the leasing center sign.
So I guess my question is, and maybe you've already answered it, is it important to have Pembroke Meadows on the 3rd sign, the middle sign?
You're saying just have the leasing center?
Yeah, I mean, because then it seemed to me it would be almost a directional kind of sign, and then you wouldn't need a variance.
I think just to be consistent with the other signs, we'd like to have the Pembroke Meadows.
Okay.
Can you speak to what's across the street from, I know on one side, I know you guys are on the one side, what's on the other side of the street from you?
So on the other side, they're privately owned townhomes.
Okay, all right. Is there ever any confusion of people trying to think that that's your property or not so much?
No, they look entirely different.
Okay.
Goose?
Yeah, I see why you want the 3 signs. One at the first road that goes into your property, one at the first, from the left, from 250, and one at the first road coming off of Penfield Road, and then, of course, your leasing sign. Do you have any other signage on either Penfield Road or Route 250 to direct someone back to you?
We don't.
So this is why you want it. In other words,
Right, there's no other
it's off a
signs.
separate road.
There are no other signs out by the main roads.
Yeah, and actually, this application was under 2250 Penfield Road. But good thing I wasn't looking on Penfield Road.
Well,
That's the,
it's a long story.
Yeah, well, it just brings up my point, is that somebody thinks it's 2250 Penfield Road, and really, there's no signs off of Penfield Road saying the apartments are back here.
right,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, there's no signs, and in fact, if you type in the GPS coordinates, it does take you to the center of the property, which would be 2250 Penfield Road. It can get confusing.
Yeah.
Some years ago, prior to the reconstruction of 441 and 250, there used to be a sign at the intersection of Pembroke Drive and Penfield Road in that median that's out there.
Oh, okay.
And when they did the widening of the road area for Penfield Road, that sign was taken down. It may have been so far
Into the-
south,
yeah.
that it may have been in the right-of-way in the states that we're not going to give you permission to have it there any longer. That was when, who was the prior?
Branford?
Yeah, Branford. but
Mitchell
the-
Brodsky?
Mitch Brodsky owned the property, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Harold. No, appreciate it.
I'm going back to the leasing center sign. Since that's your main focus, is leasing, why is that the smallest thing on the sign? Why wouldn't you put Pembroke Meadows smaller and put the leasing bigger?
So what our plan is when we, if these are approved and the sign, the leasing center sign is put, to make it stand out, this is where we want to focus our plantings, our flowers, so it should really stand out with that sign. And to fit in with the sign that is existing sign there with the room from the sidewalk to the parking lot to, and the sidewalk and the road, I should say, it may be a little harder to put a bigger sign in that location.
Well, I didn't want you to have a bigger sign, I want the same size sign.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
But just make the Pembroke Meadows smaller, the printing, and have the leasing
Oh, I
center larger, the printing.
Well, when we took our idea to the company Signs Now, they came up with some drafts, and those are the ones that everybody agreed upon that they liked, and felt the letter that would, even with the leasing center there, would still be large enough to notice.
How much distance is there between the proposed sign on the 250 side, we'll say, and the leasing sign? It looks like four
From the
buildings, 4 units?
it's
700 feet.
Yeah, it's a pretty good distance.
How much did you say?
700 feet.
700?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's 2,000 feet the other way.
From the middle
here,
sign all the
441
way
to the
this
leasing
one?
office, yeah.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is how far are people traveling before they see another
Right.
sign? You know, it's obvious it's the same complex.
Right.
They just passed one that said Pembroke Meadows, 700 feet in a car.
It's about eighth of a mile.
Okay, you're good at math.
I've actually got it all written down here already.
Got it there.
Got it all written down. Okay, let me ask you this, how long have you been the manager there?
Actually, I just started a few months ago. I've been with Morgan for 9 years. I
Okay.
just took this property
Well,
over.
then maybe you won't know this, but how do people find out about this complex, typically?
How do they find out?
Yeah.
We advertise through multiple companies. We go through a company, G5, that hits all your major online sites. So primarily.
So mostly internet?
90%.
All right. All right. So you're not really using these signs to attract people. Nobody's going to be driving too much. Well, maybe they may be looking around, but
We do get foot traffic. Primarily, it's, the phone calls or email leads, but we do, especially the leasing season, which starts here pretty soon. People just start driving around, so we do get some foot traffic.
all right. Anything else from the board? Anyone in the audience care to speak about this? Come on up, ma'am.
I don't work there, but I know the manager there. Jeff Nyman.
If you could just have a seat in the front row there and
Sure.
let her come up and speak.
Hi, my name's Margaret, and I happen to be a resident on the other side of the street. But I haven't seen any of this before, so I have no idea how large. I live close to the leasing office,
Okay.
so, I mean, but I have no idea what the signs were.
Can you help her out with that, maybe?
Sure, I just heard that this one's a large one, and you may consider changing the size of that, which would be.
So if you live by the leasing center,
Uh-huh.
this would be the proposed sign, which is 42 inches wide. And then it's the size of the end caps they're 4x4 pressure treated. So the sign is 42 inches wide by 29 inches high. Total height is 66 inches.
Which side of the sidewalk? I
It
don't.
would be, so if,
You know what? If you come over here 1 second, I'm going to hand you something, okay? and explain that where these X's are is where they want the signs. So you can see your house on there, you know the number of your house.
Take that.
Yeah, you can keep it, go ahead. And then where those X's are, here, okay, here, and here, are where they want the signs, and this is the leasing office. So it just a little familiar of where the signs are gonna be.
Which is pretty much where.
It's where the existing sign
The
is.
sign,
Yep. Where the-
private property signs are now, I think, and of the small leasing
Yeah.
signs. Thank you, I just.
You're welcome. You can keep that too, in case anybody asks.
And you can have those too. We have
Okay,
plenty of them.
so it will be between the street and the sidewalk, probably, that, and it'll be perpendicular to the street,
Yep,
so
it'll
that
be
people see
exactly
it
where
driving.
the-
Okay, yeah.
The existing one would come out and that one would come.
Okay, are they gonna be lit or illuminated?
no.
They're- So it's not
No lights.
night, no lights, yeah. So, okay, I guess from what I'm hearing, I like the idea, might they be able to be smaller? I don't know how many signs you're ending up with if you have a private property sign and an end sign. I don't know if they could be merged or something to say private property also on it, but just not too many signs.
Really, the only difference that we want, that would be to replace the existing and then the two at the end of the property.
Right. And that's a big change from the existing leasing
Yes.
sign, which is like this
Yeah,
size, right?
it's small and not in the best shape.
Right, right. So, yeah, I guess when you guys consider it, just the number of signs that may already be there, that, can they be merged into one, or, I don't know how far, are these being, yeah, these are on your property inside the sidewalk, whereas this would be between the sidewalk and the street, right? I think that's how.
No, I think all of them are between the sidewalk and your property,
Right.
not the sidewalk and the
Right.
street.
No, it's.
In other words, it's not out right on the street, it's back inside.
Okay, because the leasing sign, I think, currently is, because it's small.
Yeah,
it's
but it
between-
won't-
so it's
it'll be
being set back
back.
further.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so it's not illuminated, I have the sizes, so I can get the sizes.
You can
Yeah.
take those if you'd like.
Oh, Okay,
I have lots of them.
okay, I
You
guess.
can have all three if you'd like.
Well, this one, they just, okay, thank you, okay. That's my,
With the magnets, you gotta leave.
So if we're,
The magnet's gotta leave,
I will
the
leave.
paperwork you can
I
take.
saw people put them down here, so. So, yeah, just to consider,
Well,
the size seems.
Before we let you
Wanna
go with
walk
that
away?
stuff,
Uh-huh.
we should probably ask if anybody else wants to get up and may need to use them
Well,
also.
we'll give them new ones.
Okay, that's fine.
Got a lot.
Oh, I took this off.
well, there may be another
Right.
speaker
There may
here
be somebody
saying
else
that,
that wants to speak.
You can just sit in the front row
Yeah,
if you
stay right in the
want.
front.
Yeah, we may have to hand them some.
Anybody else in the audience care to speak about this? There you go.
There you go, see, now we gotta put,
Sure.
I wasn't kind of speaking, I just wanted to see what was going on. But I'm at Penfield Battles, I live there, and
What's your name, sir?
Michael Wright,
Okay?
and I think it's reasonable request by Jeff, right?
Yes.
Jeff, on this, because when people come, like, just pizza or friends or people try to find us, they come into either 441 or 250, and they don't know where, that they're at Penbrook Meadows, or not even sure, that, because the signage is not good there, and I think his request is reasonable. That's all I have to say.
You're not concerned about and I'm not suggesting you should be, but the size of the signs or the number?
No, I'm
Okay with
not.
that?
I actually am, my patio or whatever backs up to the sign that would be in the front of the leasing office, and I still don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
It'd be right in my back, looking right out.
Okay,
Thank you.
That's all I have to say.
Anyone else in the audience? Okay. Well, thank you all very much.
And Harold, I want to say, it was nice of them to put three zoning signs out there, that where they're actually going to
Yeah.
put them. That was great.
Well, I thought I needed to address it because they're so remote from each other,
The proximity,
they're
yeah.
almost independent of each other.
Yeah, that was
It
really
was
useful.
good.
Thank you.
Very good.
You're welcome.
Application number 4, Lou Gitzis, Odyssey Inns Incorporated, 1750 Empire Boulevard, Webster, New York, 14580.
Thank you.
Requests a conditional use permit under Chapter 250, Article 13-13.3, and in Chapter 250, Article 5-5.7-C-1 to allow an expansion to an existing conditionally permitted use and an area variance under Chapter 250, Article V-5.1-D-3 of the Code to allow the construction of a deck or patio at 1750 Empire Boulevard. The property is owned by 1750 Route 404 LLC and is Zone GB. This is SBL number 093.15-1-52. This is application number 16Z-0015.
Yeah, no, before you start, I'd like to say that on the original ones, you had a half a square red. This time you gave me a full square that was red. I hope you can really explain what it looks like, or you'll probably be back here next month with a lot better blueprints.
I'll be here a lot, I think.
Yeah.
If you look at the size of the property, I think for the next 10 years, I'll be here a lot.
Okay.
So I want to have a long,
talking
fruitful
about
relationship
here.
with you folks. My name is Louis Gitzis, and from 1750 Route 404 LLC, which is the Odyssey Inn, which was the Denonville Inn, which was the Outlook Motel. And I'm here to facilitate the best I can my property into the grand scheme of the Northern Penfield Crossroads, Baytown area, initiative, to make it part of the neighborhood, to make it part of the sidewalk initiative, and just bring it up to where it belongs to be, along with all the other properties around me that are being built and growing and getting better and better, and that's what I like to do. The deck part, which I am here first of all for, is part of a long-term plan to remodel the lobby, the reception area, the gathering area, the restaurant, because it really needs it. I don't know if you guys have been there at all.
Yeah, I've been.
But it really needs it, and to start that would be to start to raise a little more income so I can start working on these other projects. What you see at this place, everything is big. The roofs are big, the driveway's big, the boilers are big, you name it, everything's big here. And it takes a lot of income to fix it. And the first thing I want to do is create a better atmosphere in the restaurant, bar. We've already initiated many policies that have brought the property up to a better standard. I know we had sort of a reputation for years, but that's all gone. We put policies in where people can't just come and go. I don't want to, make insinuations or anything, but it's cost some cash flow, but we think in the long run, it'll be better for us. We're fixing one room at a time. We put hardwood floors in a lot of rooms so far. We've put new boilers in, and this thing we're talking about here today is just the next step to it. This project, the project we have is like probably a 5-phase project. Right now, what we want to do is fill in the pool, get rid of the pool. It's an eyesore, nobody uses it, it's got to go. So that's going to happen within the next 3 or 4 months. I already put the demolition permit in. I may have to sue for that again. Secondly, we're going to remodel we've been remodeling the rooms one by one, but next we want to remodel the reception area and the restaurant. And then we're going to remodel and do the parking lot. The patio, the reason I need you to give me the okay for the patio is not to build it right away. I had a schematic and a rendering done by Home Depot for how it's going to look, but my contractor, Acceleron, he came to me the other day and says, you know what, it's not going to work this way, because we have some plans to build handicap access from the patio, because right now there's no handicap access to the property. And he says, we got to rethink it. Instead of doing a wood deck, we might have to go up a concrete deck and go the other way. So I threw the rendering out. And what I really, really would like to accomplish here today is to get your okay on a 24 by 20 deck, which is probably between 16 or 32 inches high, depends on the handicap access, how it works. Get your okay on the size of it and everything, and then I will come back with the complete rendering, how it's going to look and how it's going to be built. The reason I want to do that is because when we're doing our work inside the bar to remodel the whole inside, we need to put a door in first that goes from the reception area out into the deck. You need to build a door. And I would like you're okay to say, okay, we will okay that size deck under these conditions, as long as you come back and we okay it. And that way I can go ahead and build the door. The door will be a 72-inch door. I think I wrote it there. 7-foot, 8-inch door, wide opening, a 36-inch door and 2 side lights. It'll be screened. And for now, we're going to put like we're going to build stairs there, up to code, of course, just temporary stairs up to code with railings, a couple of treads, right? And we want to use it for emergency door, nothing else. And the other thing about the door is, right now the bar restaurant only has one exit. And if I want to block off the motel to separate the two businesses, then I only have one way out of the bar restaurant. By doing this, I have 2 ways out, and it's a lot safer. And like if you've seen the property, it's really hard. There's a lot of barriers to accessibility for handicapped people from the regular doors right now, and we're going to address those down the line too. And we're going to make the Odyssey Inn what the town of Penfield deserves. That's what we want to do. I want people that have never been there to come once, people that come there once a year to come once a month, people that come there once a month to come once a week. That's what I want. And I don't want you guys to be scared or not proud of bringing your family reunion. Bring 3 or 4 people to stay there and have a good time. I want it to be nice, and I want a nice family atmosphere, and that's what I want.
Certainly has been improved since you've owned it. I mean, I'll give you that. I went in the bar. In fact, I talked to your manager there, and it's really nice. It became very nice. Dan, you're going to have to talk about this one. I mean, I don't know how we okay a deck that we don't see, but I mean,
that's one of the things you're asking us to do is grant you an area variance to place a deck of a certain size at a certain location. But if I'm understanding you correctly, things may change.
No, the size won't change. It's the construction, how we build it.
Well, what does that mean?
If you look
Materials?
If you look at your map over here,
The height based on the ramp.
the deck is from here to here, right? And this
Okay.
little area here is not, the deck when it goes to about right to there, right?
We don't know that.
No, it's on your map. It shows on your map.
Well, the point these guys are making, and I agree with them, is
But what I'm trying to tell you is, see, this part here is the part we're having a problem figuring out. This is where the handicap access is going to happen on this part of the building.
well, let me ask you this.
Right.
Where's the building here?
they're looking
Right here.
They're looking
Okay,
for a
here?
survey.
Here's the door.
Okay, so here's the
stops right here.
building.
That white line.
Okay,
No,
is this
right here.
one?
Yeah, right here. From here to here, that's the building.
Okay.
And then this extension here is the little vestibule.
Smoking area.
Right. And this part here is this part here in front of the smoking area is the part that we're trying to figure out how to best make handicap access. Because we tried this way with the wood deck, we can't get the 1 inch to the foot elevation.
slope.
So my contractor thinks we should do something from here and up.
So if you lower this deck, you're going to have to lower this door, is
No.
what you're saying? You're going to build another ramp
We might
through here?
do 16-inch height and have the ramp come up to the platform even with the door, have a step down to the deck.
Okay.
Or
they
go
can't use
32
the deck.
inches.
Okay.
We'll go 30 and go up 32 inches to the exact height of the door. That's what we're trying to figure out.
I think what you want us to do is approve in concept a certain size deck in a certain location, and then come back and have us approve the actual
Exactly.
deck.
Only so I can start the door. Otherwise, I can't start the door while the construction crew's in there remodeling the whole place. They have to cut pipes and cut walls and take it. I want it to be there with the door in.
How wide's the area where the how wide's the face of this, where the door's going?
Door's gonna go right here. It's right here. See the door right here?
So, does it have to be in the middle of the deck?
Oh, yeah. Well, it should be.
Well, then,
It's where the window is.
Right, the window is, right.
you can't, a two-step thing doesn't work for us. You gotta come, we're not gonna approve a concept and then do another approval. It's just not the way things work.
Well, I understand that, and I told Mr. Morehouse, which he's guided me through the thing beautifully. But my contractor 2 days ago said, we gotta change it up. It's not gonna work.
Okay, but Lou, I guess my question to you is, if you don't even know right now the height of the deck, or, you know, how are you gonna, I was in construction, how are you gonna cut the door in? What height are you gonna cut the door in?
The door's gonna be at 32 inches.
It's gonna be at the floor of the inside door?
The floor of the inside, yeah.
So cut it.
I have no problem cutting into,
I mean, if you gotta cut it, you gotta cut it. I mean, there's no change.
well, I'm changing the exterior of the building, and the front of the building facing the road and all that stuff. That's what I'm.
Well, that's where you need the variance from. So it's gonna go out the front, the deck's gonna go out 20 foot, right? And if,
Right, but if I can't put a deck in, I can't cut the door.
Well, I can tell you, if,
Well, you could put stairs there. You just said that.
yeah, but
Yeah.
I know what he means.
Yeah.
We are, go ahead, Dan.
well, all I'm going to say is from a general standpoint, I don't think that there's an issue here, except we don't have the sufficient data to get, a variance is something that's supposed to be very precise.
Right.
As any zoning code, especially, down to inches sometimes we grant them.
Exactly.
But I don't feel, and it's obvious some of my fellow board members feel the same way, that we don't have, because you don't have enough information yet to tell us exactly where everything's going and what specific relief you need from us. In a general sense, I can tell you, from my standpoint, I live not far from there. I see it's clean, it's good. It's anything that we can do, generally speaking, to help you, we will.
And this is not a crazy variance. I
No.
mean, this is a variance 80 foot. It's, you know,
Right, I think I'm 25 feet short from the road.
yeah,
to
I
the-
mean, this is not, you're not on top of the road.
I
You're
know.
not being able, people not to turn. So
I just-
I'm not saying that you'll absolutely get it, but this is not an out of the line variance, so.
Okay.
But we can't say, oh, yeah.
I understand that.
And it would be inefficient for you if we said, fine, you can do it, and then you find out you need to change it 3 different ways, then you still have to come back a second time. And now, we have something to prove that we have to
Right.
modify. It's just,
My contractors, we're set on the size of it. We can make it, if it's a problem with the variance, we can make it narrower a little bit. But we're set on the size of it. The only issue is later on is the ramp next to it coming up to the patio.
but you need to figure that out ahead of time, I guess is what we're saying.
Right.
Ask your contractor if, instead of making it one full ramp that goes straight up, if you do, where you go up and you stop,
Right.
then you turn and go up.
That's what.
He
that's-
may be able to get it at the thing now, so,
That is what he decided we're gonna have to do.
yeah, well, that's what I figured out you had to do, already. If you can't get the slope, you know what I mean, or it's too steep, that's exactly what you have to do.
Well-
And it may not affect how the deck looks.
Right.
That's what we don't know.
I mean, if I want to just put the deck up right now, without a handicap access, it'd be exactly 24 by 20, 32 inches high. That's it. That'd be my deck.
But, Lou, you gotta understand.
Wood construction with,
Yeah, what's it made out of?
Wood
What's
construction.
the railings look like?
Right.
Where's the
understand that.
door? Where's the emergency
I
exit?
understand that.
You know what I mean? See, this is the stuff that
I-
we need. We really are trying to be.
oh, I understand that. I totally understand. That's why. I totally understand
Well,
that.
and let me continue along the lines of what I was saying before. If you look around in that neighborhood and you see your competitors who have come in here and asked for outdoor dining,
Yeah,
pretty much been granted, if not all.
right.
So,
That's what I was gonna say. The restaurant across the street has a nice atmosphere. A couple of people next door at the plaza have that
Yeah.
little seating area.
yeah, we pride ourselves on doing what we can within our jurisdiction to be business friendly.
I was, like I said, I was all set on.
Yeah, sure.
You guys tell me just come back in 2 months with the deck, as long as I can build a door. That's all I'm worried about.
Yeah, well,
So building a door.
So I think what's going to happen here is we'll probably table it until next month to give you a chance to work with your contractor and come in, talk with Harold and, you know, whomever in town and get us a survey. If you haven't, you must have a survey somewhere when you're
think so.
closed on the property.
Yep.
It would be nice, because again, that's the sort of thing we need to get as exact as we need to get, because generally speaking, variances run with the land, so whoever you sell it to 50 years from now
Gets
is going to
it
have the benefit of that variance as well.
Right, right.
And they're, I guarantee you, going to want to see it in the form of a survey.
Is there, well, I'll ask Mr. Morehouse later. I was going to ask about, do I need a special variance to put a new door in? I don't, maybe not.
I don't know. Okay. Anybody in the audience care to speak about this? I imagine it's going to be tabled, but thank you.
Thank you.
And good luck. Okay, back to number, what is it, number 2?
Number 2.
Anybody here on number 2? Folkestone Lane? No one. It's a little bit of a surprise, but not the first time somebody was supposed to see me and change their mind.
Nothing
Okay.
personal.
All right, well, then that's it. The public hearings will be adjourned. We'll take a brief recess and reconvene in the back of the room. Thank you all very much. All right, I think we're ready to reopen the session, start the deliberations. So, what do we have, number one?
Okay,
163 Bunker Hill.
Right back, yeah.
okay, this is a type 2 action, type 2, no further action is required.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Okay, going through the criteria here, and an undesirable change, I think putting up 96-foot fence is an undesirable change. There's no other fence like that anywhere in that whole entire area. Whether the benefit could be achieved by other methods, yes, he could put up trees or bushes or shrubs or something.
But how
Whether
do the
it's-
kids get through the gap?
Well, how,
Oh, let her finish, let her finish.
Sorry, go ahead.
whether the requested area variance is substantial, yes, it's 100%. Whether the variance will have an adverse effect, yes. There was a woman walking her dog when I was there, and she thought it was atrocious the way it looked now, and now there's going to be way more of the same thing. Whether difficulty was self-created, yes. Now, the thing about this is, it's a corner lot. They have 25% more area being a corner lot. And because it's a corner lot, there are 2 fronts to it. And the front, on the front side is lower, their setback is only 40 feet, and the side setback is 50 feet. And the reason for that is to have the open spaces there. You know, everybody who has a corner lot has the same problem. I have a corner lot. When you move on a corner, you see that it's open. So anyway, I'm going to move to deny it. I just can't see that. We just denied one before, and this is 100% variance to put up 6 feet all around. And the fence itself, if you looked at it, they made it sound like it was in horrible, horrible shape, what's up there. It's not in all that bad shape, and if they left it, they could leave it, because it's, you know, it's been there, and they could fix it. And there are some things that need to be fixed on it. The part that's up there, the lattice fence and so forth, it needs very little work. But the side, I see where they don't like the wire part and all that, and I think if they put up a pretty 3-foot thing, it would be fine. And everybody has a problem with kids and dogs if you're in a corner. You know, it's the way it is. And one kid is 6 years old. I don't think he could learn not to run out into the street, or she, whichever it is, I don't know. Anyway, that's my feeling of, you know.
Okay. I'll second it for discussion.
I think all corner lots are not created equal. And visually, this is a much different situation than I've seen with a lot of corner lots. Just because of the shape of it, and where it's situated, and the fact that there's mature trees in there. Visually, it doesn't look like a typical corner lot to me. And for that reason, I don't think it would create an undesirable change.
And I agree with you, Mike. That's why I asked the question about from the corner of the fence to the actual corner of Bunker Hill and Holley Ridge, how far it is. It's 125 feet. And usually, the 3-foot rule is for visual, okay? Where usually it's between two houses in a street, it's for someone in a driveway backing out, it's someone on a corner trying to turn left or right. So this doesn't even come into play in this very corner. And there's a whole set of pine trees that are there. And if they actually, the wire fence is right against the pine trees right now. If they move it 4 to 6 foot in, I mean, it would even look better. And, you know, and if they're gonna replace all of it, which you are, am I correct? Every piece of that fence you're gonna replace and make it new, then it just upgrades the property. So, I mean, that's my reasoning, Carol.
Well, that's fine. You know,
It's
I'm
okay.
just saying,
I'm just
I just
saying
don't
it's my
like the
reason.
looks of what's there now. There's gonna be
No,
6 feet of it.
and what looks there now is
You know what I
terrible.
mean about
There's no
what's
doubt about
already
it.
there, the fence
I think they feel that way too.
It's gonna
you
be
know.
just like it, so.
You're talking about two different things here.
Yeah.
She doesn't like the look of the 6-foot fence that's there now.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. I was talking about the way.
Well, I know.
No, I mean, the boards,
now-
it's gonna be the same color and everything.
But now that 6-foot fence that's there
gonna
is
be
fine. It can stay there. And right now you have
Well,
three different
actually-
fences, hold on a second. You have 3 different fences in disrepair. They're gonna move this back even farther from the road and improve the look of the lot by having one continuous, nice-looking fence farther back behind the trees that are already there. And it's not gonna be a hazard of falling over, because quite frankly, if they pull the stakes out, the thing's going over.
And to tell you the truth, I did notice, they weren't home at the time that I came, so I walked around to the wire fence. And you're right, I mean, just me standing there, I could look into your back window.
Oh, yeah.
So your house is built higher than that side of the road. So I noticed it, because you have a very nice house. But I could see right into it from the wire fence, so.
Because of the angle of the intersection, which is so acute, you can't compare that to
No.
a perpendicular corner
Right,
lot
it's
where you got
square,
50
yeah.
feet on each side, and the side lot sort of looks like the side lot. By the time you make a turn onto Holley Ridge, you're traveling a couple hundred feet before you even get to the
125,
side.
yeah.
So I mean, in this particular case, I don't get it.
Yeah, I do too. I agree with you, Mike.
Well, let me ask you this, all three of you. What about the size of the variance? Do you think that there's enough proof,
Well-
if you will, that 6 foot is needed versus 5 versus 4?
Yeah, because like I said, I walked over there and I'm 6 foot tall, okay? And standing on that little wire fence that was there, even though it was 2 or 3 foot, I mean, I could certainly look right into their sliding glass door in their property.
Okay.
So it's needed at least 6 foot, in my opinion, to block the view of someone, unless he's walking by. And then he may be standing on his
Right.
toes looking at him, but 6 foot is.
And the fact that it's on a road, cars come by, lights shine in.
Yeah.
That's in your back, where normally that doesn't happen.
Yep.
Even
Lights
on a-
are shining in way over to that porch, that enclosed porch. That'd be probably practically impossible.
If you had a 3-foot fence, they would.
Well, it's way back. I mean, it's not like close to the road.
My headlights go over, but.
Well, I mean, it is really
Right,
back.
right,
And
yeah,
on
yeah.
the other side, it's perfectly open. You can see right in on the other side of the house.
Well, that's, I think they want 6 foot all the way around and they want to repair the whole thing.
Yeah, but it's a corner in that. I think that there's a reason.
Carol, I
why-
understand your reasoning. I'm not, I'm just saying, this to me seems like a little bit of a unique situation
I don't think
compared
it's
to what
that
it's been
unique.
before.
And there's not another fence anywhere in that whole entire area.
Okay.
Not even 3 feet. There's only one small fence that I could see anywhere.
Okay?
No, I don't know.
All right, so
Anyway,
we-
I didn't make a motion, so.
Well, you did.
Somebody wants to.
You made a motion, and I seconded it.
Oh,
We have a
okay.
motion.
I was
So
gonna-
we have a motion to deny and a second. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of the motion to deny?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion that we grant the 6 foot fence and give them the variance that they need. Now, let us know exactly whether it's 4 foot or 6 foot, so that you get the proper variance from the road, okay? So that you're not building a fence and you're back in here, okay? So make sure you work with Harold about the variance that's needed from Holley Ridge. So that's my,
And I think it needs to stipulate too that fence is
little
gonna be
jut
straightened
comes out,
out,
too.
and it's even gonna be farther back, it's gonna be closer to the house, so we have to make sure it says.
absolutely, right? We're all in agreement,
Yep,
okay.
on the back.
Well,
I'll second that then.
okay, I just think that and maybe some of the comments you've already made, you are asking that they be put in the minutes to reflect in favor of your motion to approve.
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct. Again, the uniqueness of it, I'd
Well,
like that
and that's
word
what
to be
I'm
used.
talking about, it particularly because of last month.
Yeah.
So, everything you guys said is, I agree with, and that would distinguish it from a prior one.
Then I'd like to add to that, that it be constructed to code out of the right-of-way, because it's in the right-of-way.
But that's the reason for the variance.
Yeah.
No, it's about 3 feet, where its height is variance.
The variance is the height.
So I don't understand, what's your modification?
They are going to be out of the right of way.
Right.
Yeah, I just want that in there, but that
Okay,
should
yeah,
be
but-
out of the
Yeah,
right-of-way.
no problem.
That was entered into the record by the applicant. They're
Okay.
removing that portion that's in the
Very
right of
good.
way.
Yeah, so we want to make sure.
That's fair enough. Okay, so now we have a motion to approve with a second. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. Number 2, no clue, huh?
Maybe they're turning it down.
Well, let's wait and see what, if
Can we
they,
just
maybe they
set
got a
it?
flat tire, you know?
Yeah, you get a hold of them, maybe you just set it next month without having them pay a fee again, right? Well, I don't know, I'll stay out of them. That's not my forte.
If he forgot,
Yeah,
that's one issue. If,
Yep.
you know, there
If he
was
said that,
an
well, yeah,
event
that's
that
another,
happened that created you know,
Yeah.
that's a whole different.
sorry, I'll
issue.
let you handle it.
Number 3.
Let's see, number 3, it's an unlisted action, no impacts identified.
So a neg deck there is what you're saying, and we have a second for a neg deck? All those in favor?
Aye.
And then I'm going to make a motion to approve the 3 signs with the condition that they are 8.5 square feet or less, which is going to be the size of the leasing office sign that they propose.
So the
they'll
2
all
bigger
be-
ones are gonna be
they'll all
shrunk
they'll
down to
the
the
same.
smaller ones.
They all be the same, so they all look uniform, they're all continuous, they all match the property, bring a sense of character together with
And
themselves.
the location that they want.
Yep.
I'll second that.
Can they have them remove other signs?
That's right, and the other, that there will be no more sandwich boards, temporary signs out there, because that was one that he agreed to. Thank you.
I don't know if you want to put it in there, but that they be allowed the no solicitation sign.
I wasn't even gonna mention it because it's already
I'm
pre-existing.
sorry, I didn't hear you, Carol. My
That they be allowed the no solicitation sign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Okay, so we have a motion to approve with conditions and a
Second.
second?
Did somebody second it already?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye. And
Number
Dan?
4?
Yeah, you know, I guess we're gonna table it, right? That's
Sure.
what I would
I'll
think
second.
we should do.
We table to next month, you don't have to re-advertise, right? If we table a specific date, you don't have to re-advertise, right?
That's correct. Yeah,
So-
we,
So you're gonna do it next month?
I think it makes sense, right? Give an opportunity.
yeah, the expectation is
Oh,
going to
yeah.
provide more documentation at the next
Yeah.
meeting. And,
No problem.
Okay, motion to table and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
do you want to do the seeker too, before we?
Well, it was tabled, why do a secret?
Well, we probably,
You might have to,
Can we do seeker without?
no,
really
I'd
knowing
wait
what
until you
we're
know what it is.
Yeah.
How can you make a, if, yeah, I'd wait.
see,
See, I was right. That's one in a row.
No, but I just didn't want to get that. I'm not disagreeing with your idea, just want to make sure that we discussed it before we left.
how we looking for next month? Oh, by the way, we'll stand in recess. Thank you all, another good meeting.